It's the final week in August, and this would have been followed up by all things back to school. But next week, we'll have a little variation to the norm, namely the general election. So today is a mix of both topics, connecting you with scholarship opportunities, helping you plan wisely for your child's education, and sharing the importance of voting. This is Jamaica Magazine, and I am Adrian Atkinson.
Why should I vote?
It's a decision you make to choose who should govern the country.
It's your voice on national issues.
And it also gives you a say in who represents your interest in the constituency and municipal levels.
If you fail to be a part of the process, it means that somebody else is making a decision on your behalf.
This message is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
We are at the best point ever in agriculture in Jamaica. Very soon, we will have more than 50% of our irrigable arable lands irrigated. I had the great pleasure of breaking ground for the Hydro Plains project. The Essex Valley is underway, almost completed. And all of those projects are bringing more lands under irrigation. The Ministry of Agriculture has moved with great speed and alacrity in bringing lands under their agro park, under the agro invest strategy. There are lands available for persons who are interested in investing in agriculture to work on those lands. I had the pleasure of looking at the Parnassus Agro Park with farmers from all over Jamaica, including returning residents, putting in many acres of crops. We are at a good place. We must now expand and invest in our agriculture.
This message is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, August 28, 2025. The Bank of Jamaica BOJ is projecting that gross domestic product GDP growth will recover in the range of 1 to 3% for the current financial year. Governor of the bank, Richard Biles, says this is largely due to the performance in the agriculture, mining, and tourism sectors. He says economic activity is projected to continue to expand in the September 2025 quarter.
Subsequently, growth is forecast to normalize in a range of 1 to 2%. Employment levels also remain high, even as anecdotal data suggests that wage pressures are moderate.
The BOJ governor also indicates that Jamaica's balance of payments remains in surplus, reflecting continued growth in remittance inflows and tourism arrivals, despite policy changes in the international environment. Speaking at the bank's recent quarterly press conference, he had this to say about the near-term outlook.
The economic outlook remains clouded by uncertainties around the United States policies as it continues to reset trading relationships and to tighten its immigration policies. These developments may slow the pace of economic activity and could cause inflationary pressures in the U.S., which could adversely affect the Jamaican economy.
On the matter of inflation, the BOJ is forecasting the rate of increase in the price of goods and services to remain low and stable over the next 2 years. Referencing data by the Statistical Institute of Jamaica, Statin, Governor Richard Biles says inflation for July 2025 was 3.3%, which is below the bank's target range of 4 to 6%. However, he indicates that while inflation is expected to remain low and below the target range over the coming months, it is projected to gradually return to the 4 to 6% corridor within the next 2 years. Mr. Biles cites several short-term factors for the current period of below-target inflation.
The projected lower-end breaches will mainly reflect the temporary impact of improved agricultural supplies following the shock of the agricultural sector in 2024, as well as lower electricity costs resulting from the reduction in GCT on electricity consumption.
The BOJ projects only a marginal first-round impact on domestic prices resulting from recent tariff adjustments by the United States. Governor Biles asserts that even with the uncertainty and potential headwinds in the global landscape, the central bank remains committed to maintaining low inflation and will deploy the tools necessary to preserve price stability.
Bank of Jamaica will continue to carefully monitor the incoming data and adjust its policy accordingly. Moreover, the bank's Monetary Policy Committee remains committed to its work program to further strengthen the policy transmission process.
In other news, the Ministry of Education is undertaking a complete reform of its pension process to make it easier for retired teachers and education officers to access their benefits. Permanent Secretary Dr. Cassin Troop announced the initiative as she outlined a series of welfare reforms designed to better support the nation's educators. She revealed that a dedicated team was already at work, automating the pension process to ensure greater efficiency and fairness.
I hate to hear my education officers call me, those who are retired and those teachers who are out there and they cannot tap into their pension. It's unfair to them. And so we have committed to really looking at that, and we are automating that very shortly to make sure the systems in the ministry, they are working to serve you.
Dr. Troop was addressing participants at the 2025 Jamaica Association of Education Officers, JAEO, annual general meeting and research symposium held recently in St. James. She informed the educators that the gratuity platform had been automated and updated to speed up processing and improve reliability for staff. The tourism product development company TPDCO and Red Stripe have signed a memorandum of understanding to collaborate on the development of the Port Royal Saloon Waters Tour. The cultural tourism product will be based in Port Royal, Jamaica's second site on UNESCO's World Heritage List. According to TPDCO's executive director Wade Mars, creating this product will connect the history of the place, once known for piracy and as a wicked city, to modern enterprise.
This initiative will open new doors for community development, foster entrepreneurial opportunities, and invite visitors to experience Port Royal in a way that is authentic, educational, and sustainable.
Mr. Mars expressed gratitude to Red Stripe, which has invested $9 million in the development of the initiative. The sum covers training of bartenders, improving bars, developing signature beer cocktails that depict Port Royal's history, and uniforms for staff, so quality standards are maintained. Brand manager of Red Stripe and Dragon Stout, Amoy Philpotts Brown, believes the tour will create opportunities for the wider Port Royal community.
While this is about the cocktails and the bars, it's also about the people of Port Royal. It's about the bartenders who will sharpen their craft, the small businesses that will see new customers, and the wider Port Royal community that will benefit from this sustainable activity. Visitors will carry home unforgettable memories, while residents carry forward new opportunities.
Efforts have been intensified to safeguard the Rio Cobre following the recent derailment of a bauxite train that resulted in the river's pollution. These interventions include the installation of signage, the development of a community-based early warning system along the river, and training residents to report pollution incidents directly to the National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, using mobile technology. Senior Manager for Environmental Management and Conservation at NEPA, Richard Nelson, gave the details at a recent JIS think tank.
These signs provide information as if you see a discoloration or something strange in the river. There are numbers you can call. There's also a barcode where persons who are more tech savvy can scan the barcode and it brings you to a page where you can put in the information. It gives information such as the coordinates of where you are reporting it from. You can put a video clip or a photograph of what you have seen, whatever information, and then that comes to a platform at the agency.
According to Mr. Nelson, the Rio Cobre is the most important river in St. Catherine, providing water for irrigation, domestic supply, recreation, and livelihoods. The river is also heavily industrialized and has unfortunately seen incidents of fish kills and elevated pH levels that threaten its many uses. To address this, Mr. Nelson says the no-discharge policy is being implemented through NEPA's Jamaica Coastal Area Management and River-Based Unit. It seeks to minimize the environmental impact of industrial and commercial operations by requiring facilities to adopt alternative treatment and disposal methods.
Our focus is not just about enforcing the regulations with these facilities, but it's about working with the industry and all the players to ensure that proper measures are put in place to prevent or minimize the pollution effect of the rivers.
Consequently, Mr. Nelson says NEPA's efforts have also seen the agency engaging key stakeholders to establish a coordinated water quality monitoring program. The Firearm Licensing Authority, FLA, has issued a strong warning against the brandishing of firearms during the political season as the September 3 general election gets closer. In a release on Wednesday, the FLA reminded that brandishing refers to the act of displaying, waving, or exposing a firearm in a threatening or intimidating manner with the intent to instill fear. The statement also emphasizes that this reckless behavior is a criminal offense and is prohibited under Section 48 of the Firearms Act, which requires firearms to be concealed and not intentionally displayed in public. The authority is therefore advising all licensed firearm holders to practice responsible usage at all times and with respect for fellow citizens and the law. It also warns that breaches will result in immediate suspension and/or revocation of a firearm license. Persons may also face a fine of up to $3 million or imprisonment not exceeding 3 years. And finally, Jamaica's Postal Service has suspended mailing parcels and packets, that is, letters containing merchandise bound for the United States. The measure follows the U.S. government's decision to end its long-standing tariff exemption for low-value imports, known as the de minimis rule, which previously allowed packages valued under $800 to enter duty-free. Jamaica Post accepted its last package on Tuesday, August 26, with its last outbound flight for the U.S. scheduled for today. All other postal services remain unaffected and continue as usual. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Back to school goes beyond the kindergarten, primary, and secondary levels. There's also the tertiary or university stage, which requires more money. But before you get to this point, you should have been making that wise financial plan. If you haven't, let's begin together.
Hello everyone, I'm Xavier Campbell, an educator, financier, and entrepreneur. Education is very important to our development and can take years to achieve the highest level. It is also very costly, and some persons will have a difficult time finding the money up front, especially in the absence of careful financial planning. So, within the next few minutes, I want to share a few steps that will guide your approach to financing your child or children's education. Let's start with, when should we begin that financial planning? According to the Chinese proverb, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Although there is no perfect time to begin planning for your child's tertiary education, starting as early as possible is the best way to ensure you are prepared financially and avoid the common pitfalls. Having a step-by-step plan is the best way to ensure that you are able to finance your child's education without sacrificing your personal financial plan. There are several things to consider when planning for your child or children's education. However, most notable among them are Parents must identify the future costs of tertiary education and have a clear sum in mind of what their target will be. Then work their way backwards to present and see how best they can earn to realize the future goal. A clear financial plan should be put in place either by the parents themselves or with the help of a professional financial planner. The discipline is what follows the plan to ensure that all financial objectives are being taken care of in terms of allocations and meeting the various timelines set out by the plan. Once all incomes and expenditures remain in accordance to the plan, by the time your child reaches maturity, their tertiary education funding would have been readily available to offset the costs associated. Now your options could be savings or investments. Both are good, but let's look at them closely. There are basically two ways to make money. One, you work for money. Two, your money works for you. So savings is the process of putting aside a portion of your income for future use. In this case, we are talking about education. So if you're going to save, you need to put aside some of your income to ensure that you're able to offset the cost of your education in the future. While investment is you putting money aside that will generally earn interest over the period of time that you put it aside for. Therefore, having a plan inclusive of savings and investments can put parents in a better position to offset the future expenses of education. Firstly, if you're not financially literate, I would advise you to seek assistance from a professional financial advisor to ensure you are getting qualified advice that will help you achieve your goal. Here are the 5 steps of planning your child's education. Step 1, set target date. Step 2, find current cost of the education. Step 3, find target amount. Step 4, estimate the returns you can generate. And step 5, calculate the monthly contribution. Here are some additional things to consider. A partner plan is a very good thing. Creating a savings account and/or fixed deposit. Invest in one of the various educational products available from a preferred financial institution. And maintain your discipline while ensuring that the projected amounts are allocated at the appropriate time to achieve your financial goal effectively and efficiently. One of the most common mistakes that parents make is that they think that they need this large lump sum. But as the Jamaican proverbs go, every mickle make a muckle, so therefore they can start small and then build onwards. Now, another mistake that they normally would make is the fact that they think that savings alone would help in terms of offsetting the costs in the future. What I would recommend is for them to use a culmination of both savings and investments in order to achieve their financial goal. So the first disadvantage I want to speak about is the inability to set financial goals. So you not being able to set goals will also lead to you being demotivated and lack the knowledge that is required to achieve that goal. And as a result of that demotivation and that lack of knowledge that is required, then there is no direction. So we consider it to be a lack of direction, right? And if there's a lack of direction, then what will happen is that poor financial outcomes will be the result of that. In concluding, planning for your child or children's education is not just dependent on the numbers. Rather, it's a combination of several factors, namely social, personal beliefs, religious, your way of approaching, and general outlook at life. However, the cost of education on a rise. Parents are looking at various investment vehicles to secure their child or children's future. Judicious planning for your children's future is essential, and empowering them with an education plan is a wise thing to do. Start to reap maximum benefits very early. Create a sustainable future for them to bloom in.
Living in a systematic adjudication area, It's time to secure what's yours. The National Land Agency is distributing titles under its systematic land registration program. Persons in St. Elizabeth and Manchester, visit the Junction Guest House in St. Elizabeth to collect your title. In St. Catherine, we're coming to you house to house. To collect your title, bring your government-issued photo ID. If someone is collecting on your behalf, they should bring a JP certified letter and their government-issued photo ID. For more information, call 876-750-5263 or visit nla.gov.jm. One agency, one goal, committed to serve you better.
Up next, we connect you with scholarships being offered through the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service.
Every year, the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service facilitates scholarships and grants targeting eligible Jamaicans who are looking to advance their studies. Some of the scholarships facilitated yearly allow for students to study both locally and internationally at leading universities. Hi, I'm Shaquille Rochester Shorter, and welcome to Finance Matters. Joining us to share the details is the Director of the Talent and Knowledge Management Portfolio at the MOFPS, Mrs. Colette Cummings McCausland. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow the Ministry of Finance on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and now TikTok to see all the episodes and highlights. Mrs. McCausland, thank you for being on our program today.
Thank you for having me, Shaquille.
All right, so I want you to tell us about some of the scholarships facilitated by the ministry.
All right, so our scholarship offers are facilitated through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade.
Okay.
We do have bilateral partners such as Serbia, Russia, China, and Cuba, as well as multilateral partners such as the OAS, Organization of American States, UK Commonwealth, New Zealand Commonwealth. Our local scholarship offers are the Marcus Garvey Graduate Public Sector Scholarship, targeted to individuals within the public sector, as well as our new initiative, the Micro STEM Scholarship for teachers to be trained in the areas of STEM, as well as the UTech STEM Scholarship for young professionals to be trained in the area of STEM.
I hear you talking about scholarships, the STEM Scholarship, the Marcus Garvey Public Sector Graduate Scholarship, but a lot of times people are deterred by the bonding that they have to sign. What is bonding?
All right, so bonding it's of an archaic term. It's really just a service level agreement, promising that after you've studied, after the government has invested in you through our bilateral partners and you have studied overseas or locally, that you will just work in Jamaica for a minimum of 2 years to a maximum of 5 years.
Who does bonding apply to?
It applies to every citizen who gets the benefit from the government of Jamaica or through its donor agencies from $300,000 up, then you are required to sign a bond agreement.
Okay. What are some recommendations for people studying abroad? You know of people going abroad to study. What do you have to say to them?
Do your research. First and foremost, know where it is that you're going to, know the culture that you're going into.
Definitely.
Because Jamaicans are loved and we like to explore.
Yes.
So do your research. That's the main advice that I can give to them. Be aware of the area that you're going into as well, because there's a lot of geopolitical tension happening across the globe. So be aware, and then you have to make that decision. You know, what is it if something should happen? How will you be able to leave quickly? You know, once you get overseas, we also encourage all our scholarships or students,
recipients,
right, to register with the embassy or the consulates in that country to say that I'm here studying, I'm expected to be here for a number of years, so that we'll have information on our citizens while they're overseas.
And that is definitely for their safety, Mrs. McCausland. Parents are oftentimes worried about their children going off. I know you're talking to the students that do your research, but what do you have to tell parents that are worried that, hey, my one daughter is leaving to go overseas and I can't stop worrying? What do you have to say?
Be prepared. speak with your child, know what it is that they're getting into.
Yes.
Look at what the scholarship is offering. Some of our scholarships are full scholarships, while others are partial scholarships.
Okay.
So therefore, is it that you will have to find some assistance or funding while the student is there? So we suggest that you just have the conversation with them. Also have a conversation with us to find out what it is that the GOJ will offer in terms of stipend or warm clothing or tuition, what it is that the government of Jamaica offers for that particular scholarship offer. Look at what the bilateral donor is also offering for that scholarship, because you can get free education, but then what is the wherewithal of it? How is it that I'm going to manage in that particular culture? If I go to China, how do I manage, what the infrastructure is like in China, which is totally different from Jamaica. Russia is forever cold, so you have to be prepared.
Yes.
Also, be available to them. Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp, video calls, just be present for them because they do need it. It's a new environment for them. It's a new feeling for you as a parent.
Yes.
And you get jittery. It's our loved ones. But as long as we prepare ourselves by being a part of the process, knowing what the process entails and keeping in tune with our students while they're overseas, they'll be fine.
Definitely agree with you, Mrs. McCausland. But you mentioned earlier that the scholarships are oftentimes for government workers. What are some of the other eligible criteria that they must meet to be able to get a scholarship?
All right, so outside of being a government employee, you must be a citizen of Jamaica for any scholarship that we offer. You must have the criteria as set out by the donor entity. So most of the donor entities, if it is for undergraduate, they'll ask you to have your CSEC or your CAPE studies. So for example, the Cuba bilateral that is currently open, we have 21 scholarship offers now out for Cuba, most of them being in the areas of medicine. So we have for nursing and we have for general medicine. We have at the postgraduate level. For those at the undergraduate level, you must have at least 2 CAPE subjects in the sciences. So physics and bio or chemistry are mixed. So it's dependent on what the donor entity asks for. But the main factor is you must be a Jamaican, and most times you must be willing to return to the country to develop the country.
That's definitely a big one there, Mrs. McCausland. So before we go, quickly, tell us where we can go to apply for a scholarship.
Always at the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service website, any one of our social media handles. Most of our scholarship applications are done online. It is tweeted, it is on Facebook, it's on Instagram. I hear we're on TikTok now.
Yes, we are.
Definitely on the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service website at www.mof.gov.jm.
Well, on that note, Mrs. McCausland, thank you for being on our program today.
Thank you so much, Shaquille. It was a pleasure.
And thank you for joining us on this episode of Finance Matters. Remember to follow us on social media at MOF Jamaica and tune in next week as we continue to demystify the economic and fiscal policies and initiatives implemented by the government to empower Jamaicans as we chart a path to Jamaica's economic prosperity.
Are you on the voters list? First, to be on the list, you would have to be registered and given a voter's ID card. To verify, you may contact your Electoral Office of Jamaica Constituency Office or the EOJ head office in Kingston. You may also visit the EOJ's website, www.ecj.com.jm. Click on Check My Status and follow the instructions.
That will give you all the information that you need in terms of your police station number, where it is located, etc.
This is where our journey ends, but only for today. Do join us again tomorrow when we'll bring you another informative program. In the meantime, stay connected via our website at jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via X at JIS News. You may also find us on all the major social media platforms and through our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.